Welcome back everyone to your stimulus update for today, and in this update specifically, we'll be covering the recent eviction moratorium extension that the Biden administration and the CDC has now put in place. We'll be discussing when it is extended to, who it will benefit, and all the details surrounding this extension. So we'll be discussing it in today's video. So let's get started and dive right in. But before we do, as always, make sure that you do drop a big thumbs up on this video, smash the like button. I would greatly appreciate that. Also, make sure, if you haven't already, do be sure that you are subscribed to this channel. Click that big red button, you can't miss it, as well as the notification bell as well. That will actually notify you when I do post a brand new video, or when I go live, or when I do more cash giveaways. We'll be doing our next one when we do hit 20,000 subscribers. That's when we'll be doing our next cash giveaway. So make sure you do those few things for me, and we can get started. So yes, prior to this extension, the Biden administration was cutting it very close. They had just a handful of days to decide what to do surrounding the eviction moratorium. And housing advocates say that this has helped most cash-strapped tenants across the country during the pandemic survive. The ban was set to expire on March 31st as part of the $900 billion stimulus bill that was passed under the Trump administration, and housing advocates had thought that this ban would have been extended for several more months and possibly even strengthened. In fact, they argue that the existing moratorium hasn't been a blanket protection and say that thousands of families have been evicted for other reasons beyond the non-payment of rent. Now, Democratic Senator Jack Reed, he's a Democrat from Rhode Island, he had said in a statement, quote, "The key to restoring and strengthening our economy is defeating COVID-19. To do that, we must keep people safely housed as we work towards vaccinating more people. This is what the American Rescue Plan does. But for now, an extension of the moratorium is clearly wanted until more people are vaccinated, more supportive housing programs come online, and more help is deployed." Now, according to reports, a decision was quietly made behind the scenes before it was officially released. But let's take a look at what this official extension now says and will now be implemented. So the Biden administration has extended the federal moratorium of evictions for tenants who have fallen behind on rent during the pandemic. The Centers for Disease Control and Prevention on Monday moved to continue the pandemic-related protection that had been scheduled to expire just on Wednesday, and the moratorium is now extended through the end of June. The ban was first put in place last year, and it provides protection for renters out of concern that having families lose their homes and move into shelters or share crowded conditions with relatives or friends during the pandemic would further spread the highly contagious virus that, of course, has now killed more than 500,000 people in the United States alone. Now, not just anyone could utilize this eviction moratorium. You can't get away with anything. There are certain parameters and thresholds that you have to meet. To be eligible for the housing protection, there's actually income limits, just like stimulus checks. In fact, renters must earn $198,000 annually or less for couples filing jointly. When it comes to individuals, that figure is $99,000 for single filers. And they also have to demonstrate that they've sought government help to pay the rent, and they have to declare that they can't pay rent because of COVID-19 hardships, and they have to affirm that they are likely to become homeless if evicted. So this is not something that's so easy to use. You have to show proof, you have to show documentation. Now, when it comes to homeowners, in February, President Biden had extended the ban on housing foreclosures to June 30th to help homeowners struggling during the pandemic. So now both will end simultaneously. Housing advocates did expect the extension on the tenant eviction moratorium and had been lobbying the Biden administration, saying that it was too early in the country's economic recovery to let the ban lapse. John Pollock, who's the coordinator of the National Coalition for a Civil Right to Counsel, had said last week that the moratorium was, quote, "the only thing still holding back the flood of evictions that would spiral through the still shaky American economy. If we were to let all these landlords just evict their tenants, you would have people on the streets in homeless shelters, potentially spreading the virus rapidly." He had said that current surveys show that 18.4% of all tenants owe back rent, but that number also revealed significant racial disparity because the percentage of black tenants behind their rent was 32.9%, so quite a drastic difference. Some housing advocates were actually upset and disappointed that the Biden administration did not do enough and merely extended the ban without making any changes to the actual ban legislation. For example, Diane Yentl, who was the president of the National Low Income Housing Coalition, she had said that others had pushed, and herself, to make the ban's protections automatic and universal. Currently, tenants would have to actively take steps to invoke the ban's protections, which can lead to exploitation of those who don't know their rights or don't understand the process. There are certainly pros and cons to doing this. It's hurting homeowners and landlords who also have to pay their mortgages, mind you. But at the same time, it is going to protect a lot of people from contracting COVID-19 and potentially spreading it to others. But also at the same time, it's just forcing people to be even more behind on rent and owing even more money, and they could be taken to court in order to pay this all back eventually anyways. What are your thoughts on the eviction moratorium? Do you believe it should be extended? Or at this point, it's finally time to cut it off, cut it dry, and just say that people have to find a way to pay for their living expenses? What do you think? Let me know down below in the comments. Now, under the stimulus bill, there was rental assistance that would help renters pay back their rent. So some landlords are not getting screwed totally, and people have to make an effort under this eviction moratorium to show that they tried everything in their possible power to pay back at least partial payments of the rent. They have to show that they did everything possible. They communicated with the landlord. Again, it's not so easy. It's not as easy to use. I do believe it was necessary at the start of the pandemic, going back several months, a year ago. You had to have some protection in place. But now with the vaccine being rolled out and people being vaccinated, I do believe it is time. People are getting back to work. The economy is bouncing back. They have already received 3 stimulus payments and months of unemployment insurance. I don't believe that we should be extending this eviction moratorium anymore. Now, it was only extended into June 30th. When it comes time to June 30th, it could be extended again. But if we have record-breaking numbers of people being vaccinated, hundreds of millions of Americans being vaccinated with shots in their arms, I think that June 30th would be the final and last extension. I am surprised that the Biden administration had only extended it to June 30th. I would have thought they would be much more liberal with their extension, at least into July or August. What do you think? What is the correct month or the correct date that the extension should have been put in place, if at all? I'm curious to hear. There is some progress being made though. Numbers and statistics show that less Americans owe back rent than they did just months ago. So there is certainly some progress being made. We are still awaiting President Biden's speech in regards to the $3 trillion infrastructure plan, the plan that we discussed in my last video. If you didn't see that yet, the link will be down below in the description. But that will reveal some details, not fully, but some details surrounding this plan and what can we see inside. More updates in regards to anything and everything stimulus will be found right here on this channel. This is your one-stop shop for everything stimulus. If you did enjoy this video, drop a big thumbs up on it, smash the like button. I would appreciate that. If you haven't already, consider clicking that subscribe button, becoming a subscriber today, and clicking that notification bell as well. If you'd like to get some free stocks, use my links down below in the description. When you sign with Robinhood and or Webull, you'll get free stocks, some buy up to thousands of dollars in some cases. So let me know what stocks you do get. But I look forward to seeing you guys in the next one.